Temujin's early life was marked by hardship and struggle, setting the stage for his dramatic rise to power. Born into a noble lineage, he faced betrayal and exile at a young age. His father was poisoned by enemies, and his family was left to fend for themselves on the harsh Mongolian steppe. Despite these setbacks, Temujin grew into a resourceful and determined leader, driven by a vision that few could comprehend at the time. He was not merely content with survival. He sought to unite the fractured Mongol tribes under one rule, challenging the deeply ingrained traditions of aristocratic dominance. Word of Temujin's daring escape from captivity at the hands of his former ally, Jamukha, spread swiftly across the steppe. This event marked a turning point in his life. Many believed that his escape was more than mere luck. Some shamans and spiritual leaders began to claim that his destiny was divinely ordained. These prophecies only bolstered Temujin's resolve. He understood the power of perception and used these rumors to his advantage. Determined to legitimize his leadership, Temujin called a Kurultai, a grand council where tribes and clans could pledge their allegiance by attending. In Mongol tradition, showing up was equivalent to casting a vote in favor of the leader calling the gathering. However, despite his growing reputation, only a modest number of tribes participated. The majority of Mongolian lineages remained loyal to Jamukha, who still represented the established aristocracy. Rather than see this as a failure, Temujin took it as an opportunity. With those who had already declared loyalty to him gathered in one place, he consolidated his support and formally took on the title of Temüjin Khan. He then sought the blessing of Ong Khan, a powerful leader and former ally of his father. Temujin assured Ong Khan that his new title did not pose a challenge to his authority, but was instead a declaration of continued loyalty. Ong Khan, seeing Temujin and Jamukha as useful rivals who would weaken each other, accepted the gesture without concern. With his position somewhat secured, Temujin set about reforming the traditional Mongol system of governance. The Mongol elite traditionally ruled through family ties, with power concentrated among aristocratic lineages. Temujin, however, broke from this convention. He appointed individuals based on loyalty and merit rather than bloodline, a revolutionary concept at the time. This system earned him the loyalty of those who had previously been overlooked: skilled warriors, strategists, and even commoners. He established a disciplined and organized military structure, ensuring that power rested with those who proved their worth rather than those who simply inherited it. He also formed an elite unit of bodyguards to ensure his personal safety, recognizing that his rise to power would inevitably invite assassination attempts. While Temujin built his forces, Jamukha seethed. He considered Temujin a mere upstart who had no right to challenge the established order. He bided his time, waiting for an opportunity to crush his former friend and assert his dominance once more. That moment arrived when one of Temujin's men killed a distant relative of Jamukha during a cattle raid. Seizing upon this as an excuse, Jamukha launched a devastating attack on Temujin's forces, overwhelming them with superior numbers. Temujin was forced to flee. Jamukha's victory, however, came at a cost. Instead of simply defeating his enemies, he resorted to horrific acts of brutality. He executed one of Temujin's captured leaders and, in an act of sheer terror, boiled 70 of Temujin's captured men alive. This display of cruelty shocked the Mongols, even those who had supported Jamukha. Rather than reinforcing his authority, it created a backlash. Many began to question whether Jamukha was truly fit to lead. The harsh treatment of prisoners contrasted sharply with Temujin's emerging reputation as a leader who rewarded loyalty and provided opportunities to those who served him. This shift in public sentiment worked in Temujin's favor. Over time, more and more Mongol families abandoned Jamukha and joined Temujin's growing faction. In 1195, an opportunity arose that would change the course of Temujin's campaign. The Jurchen, a powerful group from northern China, sought to weaken the Tartars, another Mongol tribe. They called upon Ong Khan to raise an army for a joint attack. Ong Khan agreed and included Temujin's forces in the campaign. Recognizing the potential benefits of the alliance, Temujin sought additional support from the Jurchen, a small but capable Mongol clan. The Jurchen initially agreed to join the raid, but their commitment proved unreliable. On the eve of battle, Temujin invited the Jurchen to a feast. During the celebration, a fight broke out after Temujin's half-brother, Belgudai, caught a Jurchen warrior attempting to steal horses. The incident escalated into a drunken brawl, and when the time came for war, the Jurchen failed to appear. Their absence was more than just an inconvenience. It was a blatant sign of disrespect. Despite this betrayal, Temujin's forces succeeded in the raid. The Tartars were swiftly defeated, and the Mongols reaped immense rewards, including silk, gold, and other treasures from China. Upon returning, Temujin discovered that the Jurchen had raided his camp in his absence. This act of treachery could not go unanswered. Temujin swiftly retaliated, defeating the Jurchen and exacting justice upon their leaders. Unlike traditional Mongol warfare, where conquered tribes were often left to recover and retaliate later, Temujin sought lasting control. He held a Kurultai to publicly judge the Jurchen leaders for their betrayal. They were executed, and their lands were redistributed among his followers. The remaining Jurchen were not enslaved but integrated into his ranks as equals. This approach reinforced his reputation as a fair yet firm ruler who valued loyalty above all else. His decisive action sent a clear message. Betrayal would not be tolerated, but those who joined him would find prosperity. To further emphasize this, he arranged a wrestling match between Belgudai and the Jurchen warrior who had insulted him. The match ended with the warrior's back broken, a final demonstration of the consequences of defying Temujin. As Temujin continued to gain power, Jamukha sought to counter him. In 1201, he gathered the support of Mongol aristocrats and declared himself Gur Khan, a title meaning universal ruler. This move was a direct challenge not just to Temujin but also to Ong Khan. Recognizing the threat, Ong Khan and Temujin joined forces to oppose Jamukha. A great battle ensued, with shamans on both sides calling upon the spirits for aid. As the battle raged, a thunderstorm broke out, and many of Jamukha's warriors took it as a sign that the spirits favored Temujin. Fearful, they deserted the battlefield, forcing Jamukha to retreat. Temujin pursued the Taikiad, a clan that had once betrayed him. Though fierce in battle, they ultimately fell. In a moment of poetic justice, Temujin freed the family who had once helped him escape as a child. Meanwhile, Jamukha escaped, but his power was waning. The final confrontation between the two rivals was yet to come, but Temujin had already set himself on the path to ultimate victory.